What's up, everybody? Welcome to the CanesInSight Daily Podcast, powered by Andrade and Levine Accident Attorneys. Your Miami Hurricanes are regional champs for the first time since 2016. Just an incredible season, incredible game. We'll get into all that, including what lies ahead for your Miami Hurricanes as they make an unlikely run towards Omaha. Comments are already juiced up. I'm fired up. Pete's fired up. We are ready to rock and roll. Also, I know there's always going to be time to talk recruiting, so we got the bank, the latest from this weekend. I wrote a story on CanesInSight.com, 7 million posts and counting. Check that out for free. But we'll go over some of the players coming out of that visit, 17 visitors, and how they are looking. Some folks that are always rated 5 stars. That is Andrade and Levine Accident Attorneys. If you or someone you care about has been injured in an accident, you could be entitled to significant compensation. Dial 1-800-747-FREE, 1-800-747-3733. Take back control of your life with Andrade and Levine. Pete, hop in here.
Good morning, D.
Good morning, man. Feeling good, feeling refreshed. I got a nice 3 hours of sleep, hit the gym, ready to rock and roll, man. Still fired up from yesterday.
Yeah, man. Awesome. Obviously super excited for the, no pun intended, for the group of players and JD, of course. We'll get into the game here at Sebastian Font's in the waiting lobby as well. We'll bring him here in a second. But I think with this group and with JD, really, obviously you are the guy who followed the, every single game and every at bat. So you can talk about a lot of the nuances, but just, having been around JD in the past, having called games for WVUM when I was in school, and obviously JD was part of the staff, I think we saw this season his greatest strength as a coach, as a manager, is his sense of calm, right? Like that, the team, with everything that happened up, throughout the season, obviously they had some really, really bad moments. They had some really, really high moments at the end, and then they fell off big time at the end. So for him to get this team back mentally in a place to compete this weekend, and then again, you lose how you lose the other night, and they come right back. And I mean, look, again, not having followed the ins and outs of the team, just getting texts. Not everyone was very, at least for people who follow the team closely, confident going into last night, right? With the pitching situation. And Lumpkin gave you, really solid innings there. Will Smith comes in and, really shuts the door on them. And then you have, of course, Walters doing what he does at the end there. But I just think JD, props to him for keeping this thing together, really.
100%. You said it very well. Resilience, to me, is the word here. You talk about a team that had 5 straight series losses, right? Really, the first 5 real series, as far as legitimate opponents, starting with Connecticut, you lose those. And then you go on an incredible run in the ACC. Then you limp into the finish line, 1-6 in your last 7 games, including the first round of the ACC tournament, getting run ruled by a bad Cal team. And then, of course, this run here in the regionals. And you think back, so go back to 2016, last time Miami did this. There were so many loaded rosters in between, with guys that are playing in the MLB now, that are about to play in the MLB, guys that are in the minors, guys that got drafted. I mean, really, those teams were loaded, some of those Damari teams, and they did not get to this point. So when you talk about JD, you can say whatever you want. Here are 2 things that you have to acknowledge. Number 1, he got every bit out of this roster that he could get. I mean, this team overachieved. Forget achieved. They overachieved. Number 2, this team, and I know this from a fact because I do the Storm Sessions interviews. I talk to all these kids. I talk to their families. I'm close to the team in that way. They would die for JD. I mean, the level of love for their leader is like something I've not seen at UM, at the University of Miami, in a long, long time. I cannot remember the last time I saw a group of guys, maybe Larinaga.
I was going to say Larinaga, those couple years there when they had those runs.
But, with JD, he had adversity, I think, a little more than Larinaga. So there was that added sense of like, man, they're talking about our guy, right? They're trying to fire our coach. So I've not seen that kind of coming together in a while. A great team as far as just the chemistry, how close they are, and just awesome. And, baseball wise, we got to bring in our baseball correspondent. Just arrived this weekend from Hattiesburg, one and only Sebastian Font. Oh, there he is. Hey, Sebastian, what's going on?
How are y'all doing, baby? Apologize for my voice in advance. It's been a pretty rowdy weekend up there in Hattiesburg.
Yeah, man. You tell me about that experience. You were here for the final, right? You were here in Miami for the final.
Yeah, because they put the game at 8 Central Time. It would have been impossible to get back home with a 14-hour drive. So I was stuck in the car watching it, but you know, it was a real pull over on the side of the road, watch it, it was with my group of guys, and we all loved it, man. It was great. I'm happy to be back. Don't miss the weather though.
Usually the first year, a lot of students kind of get lost and don't go to school. You are obviously top of the class valedictorian type. Eventually you will learn to miss school for moments like that. That's going to come hopefully the next regional championship that Miami wins, or next trip to Omaha. You'll have already learned how to miss school strategically at that point.
No, I mean, it wasn't me. I was with a group of guys since not old enough to fly in and rent a car. Not so we had to take our own, and we had a couple of them had work today, so we already called off, and we had no choice. But it was a special trip for sure.
All right,
it's summer, D. It's summer, D. There's no class now, so
yeah, true. Good point. So Sebastian, this team, you said it from the beginning. So we were there in fall, right? Sitting and watching practice. And actually you were on the field for the beginning of that, right? And then
Yeah.
you transitioned to this role from your role previously, as a preferred walk-on on the team. So from the beginning, you said close-knit, high character, will do the most they can. Are you seeing now what you saw back then, the results of that tightness?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we said it from the first podcast we did, right? That this was going to be a special team. I took a lot of flack for saying that it would be a special team and whatnot, but when you have a group of guys that all they want to do is just die for each other on that field, you get what you saw last night, right? A lot of guys that hadn't pitched in a while, hadn't come through in a while, and they were the guys that got it done for this team and found a way to take Miami to a place that they haven't been since 2016. And that's how special teams do their thing. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this momentum carries over into Louisville. And I think that the second that if Miami gets game one, you're going to see the Canes back in Omaha.
So let's start with Reese Lumpkin. To me, that's where I want to start, which is, Miami's midweek starter from Winthrop, older guy. This is last year, right? That you hear JD say, maybe this is last year of baseball, right? Because he's not necessarily a pro prospect like some of these other guys, like a Walters or some of these other dudes. So he's playing potentially his last college game. I talked to his dad during the FIU game, which he started midweek, and his dad was kind of laughing. Like, I was like, how was his recruiting process to Miami? And he's like, man, they called him. We said, where do we sign up? So this is someone who's very grateful for, he's not someone who's like a prep All-America that's like, hey, go to UM and go to the pros. Like, he's very grateful to be wearing these colors and representing Miami and playing in these kind of games. Goes out there, really solidified, I thought, during the year, the midweek spot, which was terrible last year. And then has the opportunity to start this one. I thought he was outstanding to get this one started. And then you follow it up with, what Will Smith did. You're talking about a guy who, same thing, bigger program. He's like Coastal Carolina. So he talked about in the press conference, he had been in these kind of games, but he had never won. Coastal Carolina didn't win a regional during his time. They just won one this year. But he had been on close and not gotten there. So just starting with those two guys, Reese and then Will Smith, the veterans, how happy are you for those dudes for what they were able to do to bring this one home?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Reese, especially with the start, hadn't pitched in a while, and a lot of people didn't like the decision from JD for him to start this game. And I felt that the moment wouldn't be too big for him, right? He would be able to handle it. And if he had his stuff, he could actually provide a really nice start there. And that's exactly what we did. The whole weekend, we were actually sat next to his family in that little Miami section. They were the loudest people the whole time, always cheering on everybody. Didn't matter whether it was that Southern Miss game on Sunday down 17-6. They were still cheering. They were still loud. And he came out and rewarded everyone for that faith with a great start. He had everything working for him. You could see that he was really amped up for the moment. He was in that mid to low to mid 90s range at the start of the game, kind of settled in there and gave a really great start to, keep the lead and just give the offense a chance to explode, which it did, right? And then when it comes to Will Smith, right? He's the exact guy you wanted in that moment. There's a reason that he's Fireman Willie, right? He came in throwing heat, throwing just absolute nasty curveballs and just firing up the dugout every time he got in there. There was always that energy coming off the field, and he gave them that momentum just to ride through. And it was that guy. Everyone loves him in the clubhouse. He's a real special dude, a real funny guy, and he wants it more than anybody. And you could see that yesterday.
Yeah, Pete, you were texting me about Will Smith. I mean, I feel like all the group chats were like, man, who hadn't seen him, they're like, who is this guy? Kind of, the weakness is sometimes those fly balls lead the park. That's always been the thing that he's fought against. But man, when he has it going, his swing and miss stuff is high level, right?
A lot of appearances this year too, right? So I mean, he was a guy who had pitched a lot this year. So you would expect, and has pitched and has been around for a while. So that's what you look at the portal, right, from before the season. And I think that although it wasn't like the highest rated portal class in the country, you're seeing some of these late pickups, some of these under the radar pickups that have turned out to be good evaluations down the line here.
Big time. And an experience, like you said. Will Smith said in the postgame, he's like, listen, I've been in this game 5 times and I've lost every time. Because, again, Coastal Carolina is a big program in baseball. For those who don't follow college baseball, it's close. And they had, similar to Miami, had not gotten over the hump recently for the regionals. They did this year. But when he was there, they didn't get over the hump. So for him, it's like, not only is it one of his last games, but it's like, man, now all the times that we couldn't get there, I can be the one that gets the Hurricanes there. It's crazy how it worked out.
May I say it was the best relief pitching performance in the postseason since one Sam Abrams against VCU.
The Iceman himself. Yeah, shout out to Sam Abrams. So Sebastian, before we move on to the position players, Rob comes in, Rob Evans, get big strikeout there. That could have been a dangerous position when he had those 2 leadoff walks, as far as JD kind of getting second guess, because you wonder, hey, you won the lefty matchup, but you wonder if you go to Walters, get those last 6 outs. Ultimately, Walters comes in, gets the last 6 outs anyways. How big was that performance? I know he gave up the home run, but it's college baseball. You're playing a crazy environment. I thought he was really outstanding, dialing it up to 98.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Rob Evans, firstly, I want to shout him out because he was rails all weekend, right? Especially when it came to that Alabama game where he comes in a very high leverage situation in a 1-out opportunity type of thing to get it to Walters in the 9th. And he absolutely comes in and just strikes the guy out, fires everyone up. And for a guy that many people wondered why he was pitching at some points in the season, and then he proceeded not to pitch for a while there, to have such a resurgence at the end of the year is something that's really great for him. I think that he's a kid that really was just wanting to prove people that he can do it for this Miami team, and he did exactly that. And yesterday comes in
on Rob before we move on to Walters. He was injured, as you know, but people don't know he's been dealing with injuries. So, you're finally seeing the stuff. I mean, he's throwing 93. He has a great changeup. He's got really good ability, and he's a great person from all accounts. I think there's a lot more there, and there's going to be ups and downs as he because of the health, but you're seeing a lot more ups lately as he rounds into form in the perfect time. And I think he's going to be a huge guy here in Louisville.
Yeah. Again, he's going to be your big time lefty matchup guy, and he's grown into that role, and it's really great for him. And then going to Walters, man, I mean, he's coming in throwing straight smoke from the pen. You get him in a 6-out save opportunity, and it was electric right from the go. I wish I was there to see that heat in person, but just watching it from my phone, you could still tell it had a lot of juice to it. And he came in there, and even with the struggles against Alabama, he came in there, brushed it off. Even with the homer that he gave up, didn't even phase him. Gets the next out, and they all dogpile on him. So he's a guy that started this year, right? He started this year and struggled from time to time because it looked like he was pitching like a closer as a starter, right? He would get them to 2 strikes and then try and get them to chase and then end up with a lot of walks early in the game. And we said that maybe thoughts about moving him to closer, and that's exactly what JD saw, that made a great decision to do that. And you can see that his stuff, his approach is so much better suited in that closer role.
Yeah, it's changed the whole team, really. I thought, just from a confidence standpoint, knowing you have him there. Switching to the other side, you got to start, to me, I always start with the leadoff guy, Jonathan, or sorry, I always call him Jonathan Andrade. I'm so old. Mike's going to kill me. Jake Ogden. We were there in the camp, sitting with Ogden's dad, and he kind of, he's like, he knew people were doubting his son's ability to play shortstop. Right, Jake had been third base, but some people thought he'd be first base, DH, and then not only is he able to play shortstop adequately, he becomes an exceptional difference-making shortstop on the defensive end. Made some huge plays all weekend, but really yesterday, even the second to last out, right, just big play after big play. Almost had a home run, right? That was like a foot away from being basically the separator that would have maybe made this a little less dramatic. But Jake Ogden, to me, has become one of the best shortstops around, period.
Yeah, I mean, just watching him play, anyone that comes to see him, whether you watch baseball a lot or not, you just fall in love with the way that he plays the game, right? And yesterday, he had the game-saving play with that chopper to him at short that he made an amazing play on, because the next hitter was the home run. That would have tied the game if Ogden didn't make that play, right? And he does it on every aspect of the field, whether it's hitting leadoff, he's batting around 350, whether it's doubles, singles, home runs, even bunting to get on from time to time. He just plays the game in such a fun way. Fielding, see him going to his left, going to his right, not stopping for any ball, and base running. I mean, the guy is full steam, 100% every play. If you love baseball, you love Jake Ogden. I mean, look, go look at his fan club if you want proof, right? And he's the spark plug for this team. The entire team rallies around him, even though he might be a bit nonchalant, not say much, just real cool, confident guy. The team rallies around him. He won't admit that, but they all rally around him, and he's a real special kid that we have playing shortstop for the University of Miami.
Yeah, it's well, I take my son to the games. I say, just watch Jake. Watch how he runs, watch how he plays, watch how he is in between plays. That's what you want to be as a baseball player. So Max Galvin really came out strong late in the season and throughout. I think he's going to be a key player here against Louisville. We saw it all off season. We knew it was just a matter of time before he kind of got cooking. Cuvée didn't have his best game yesterday, and the team still was able to get it done. Obviously we know how important he is, but I got to ask about my boy here, Dorian Gonzalez. I keep posting the Belen logo on Twitter, finest institution in Florida, of which he is a graduate. But the captain, we know how close he is to JD and his family, right? This is like they have a bond that is beyond deep. He was best friends with JD's son, who passed away tragically in a car accident. So, I mean, we're talking about family here. And for him to have 2 of the biggest home runs we've seen in Hurricanes baseball in a while, the last one being just a complete bomb. That was like that he admired that one. That was not like a second baseman's home run. I mean, that looked like Cuvée sending one out. So what can you tell me about Dorian and just what he means to this team?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about being the captain, being that close to JD, right? He really wanted to do it for for him, right? And I think you could see that in the way that he played this regional. Every swing was to do damage. Every play was 100%. And he, as the captain, him and B-Walt really set the tone, right? They always set the tone. And they did it not only in the locker room, but with how they played. And even though I laugh every time you make the Belen Jesuit comment, he really did them proud and did the University of Miami proud this weekend.
P, we got 1300 on, man, for baseball, man. We got to talk more baseball. The people are speaking loud that they're fired up about this team.
The bandwagon is open, man. The bandwagon is open. Come on.
All are welcome. All are welcome. So, just going down the lineup, I know somebody, you have been reporting on this really exclusively. And I got to be honest, I was skeptical. You were saying, hey, I think I think Derek Williams, the right fielder from Wichita State, who was really playing well before he hurt his hamate. He was getting ready to play. And I was like, this guy's he swings so violently, pull hitter, that's a bad injury. I don't see this being really much of something that's going to, make it. I hope he comes back so he can experience it, but I wasn't expecting him to make a difference in the lineup just because of his health. And not only has he been kind of hitting those singles up the middle consistently, then the power shows up with the tone setting home run. And really you couldn't win this game without Derek Williams getting back healthy.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that I don't even think he made it through half the year before his hamate injury. And he was already at 8 or 9 home runs and batting .350, right? He was kind of the offense before we even got to that hot streak. It was really only him because even Cuvée was slumping at that time. And to get him to come back, I think that it really provided a lot of energy to the team. They love him. You watch him come up with his walk-up song. The entire dugout is putting their arms up for him. And the guy just simply just rakes the ball, right? Getting hits up the middle, and even a home run with a hamate injury, you usually lose exit velo. So for him to be able to do that over that big wall in center, that just shows you the type of player that he is, and the ability for us to get him, a guy like him, in the transfer portal. And it would have been amazing to see him have a full season here, but I don't think anyone cares if he's able to get hot again during this regional and now super regional run.
So one of the comments here, some folks looking for football recruiting updates. We will get those to you, I promise, after we're done talking about, some guys getting it done on the field right now in the orange and green for your Miami Hurricanes. And that is the baseball team. Now, Sebastian, real quick before we switch to football, on JD, again, I do the Storm Sessions interviews. I sit down with the families, talk to the players. The sense I'm getting from those guys and their families is it's an unusual bond with Coach JD, as far as when he gets criticized, they want to not only, obviously their performance is getting criticized too, implicitly, because you're saying the team's not playing well, but it's almost like they're more worried about making him, kill the doubters than even themselves sometimes. It's crazy to see. I've never seen that, but I've heard it so consistently with not just Dorian, but other players on the team. Do you sense that there's that obviously everybody wants to perform for themselves and for their own and for their teammates, but also performing for the coach and making sure that he shuts up the doubters?
Yeah, I think that starts with how in the fall he immediately builds that relationship with his players. It's automatically we're all gonna ride for each other, and we're gonna get this Hurricanes team back to Omaha, right? And he'll do anything for you as long as you do anything for him. And I think that's the kind of mindset that this team has. They're all gonna go to the walls for each other, and I think that you see that in big time games, right? And especially with how we've played against big time pitching, whether it's the guy from Alabama, Jamie Arnold, a host in Southern Miss, right? They play up to the moment and they rally around their coach. And that's, no matter what you have to say about JD, he's been able to do something that hasn't been done since I was still single digits in age. So you got to give him props.
Yeah, man. It's It's awesome. I'm fired up. I know you're fired up. We'll talk Louisville later this week. We'll do a big show, kind of breaking that down. But for now, just enjoying it. First time it's happened since 2016. So how old were you, Sebastian, in 2016?
I would have been just around 10. I would have just been 10.
Peter, were you in college in 2016 still?
I graduated 2016, man.
Yeah, man. So it's been a while. So fired
that
up.
was my senior year. I was calling games then. So I was.
Yeah, you're the good luck charm, man. You left and the thing fell off the map.
Yeah, I don't know if it was me. I didn't bring us much luck during my time in school and in other sports. Maybe ACC basketball championship, but
yes, sir. All right, fellas. Listen, Sebastian, thank you. We'll be back to talk Canes baseball and get into this Louisville series. But for now, enjoy it. I know you're fired up. So you're not working. You came back just to. What are you doing? What do you got going on?
He is working. What are you talking about? He's working for CanesInSight,
right now.
man.
Now, D.
This is okay. Good. All right. Well, get on it. You got a lot of work to do. Your season just got extended here, so we might be working. We might be taking a trip to. We'll definitely take a trip this week, and maybe we'll take another trip. So should be fun. You're the man. Everybody, check out Canes baseball coverage with Sebastian Font. CanesInSight, the biggest message board by far for Canes baseball on the planet, on top of everything else. So check out his work out there and be on the lookout for our Louisville preview podcast. Sebastian, take it easy, brother.
Take it easy, y'all. Take care.
Von's saying this dude, Sebastian's a baby. Come here so I can give you a wedgie. Play by the rules, saying Omaha in Peyton Manning's voice. I'm hearing it in Waylon Jennings. You hear the Waylon Jennings song, Omaha. Classic. In fact, that might be my song of the week, but we got to save that one for getting there.
Canes Cats Heat already wants to get to baseball portal talk. We can't. Listen, we got too many people on here, waiting for football.
1,500. We'll get the baseball. Yeah. Trust me, there'll be plenty of baseball portal talk over the next few months. Von's saying we need a hood sports correspondent. Let me know when you're ready. I'm ready, Von. I'm ready, man. Let's talk. Hit me up. We got to talk. We got to cover the whole globe, man. So, let us know what you got going on over there. We'll talk. Appreciate you in the chat. So, Pete, let's get into the bank. I did a story. You go ahead and pull it up here on CanesInSight.com. The bank, 7.4 million posts and counting on CanesInSight. We do it for free. And there we go. I broke down basically this weekend, but we'll go one by one. Some of the stuff we talked about already, but I went ahead and talked to sources, confirmed some of the things I saw when I was there in person talking to guys, and just kind of my read of the tea leaves. I wasn't really surprised by anything I heard, but that was good. Sometimes you get surprised you don't want to hear. Like, man, this guy, yeah, we love him. We love the talent, but, he was acting like an idiot on his visit. We can't take him. So we didn't. No negative surprises, just positive surprises. So Clutch is saying D-Money watching D-Money on the screen. Anyways, so just to talk about a few guys here, Pete, and roll through here because I know you know about these guys too. Derek Cooper, I'm going to start there. This has been a high priority recruit for the University of Miami. This is a elite running back, top 3, depending who you look at. From Shamadan Madonna, of course, the school of Jeremiah Smith, JoJo Trader, CJ Bailey, major pipeline. Derek Cooper plays running back. He plays safety. He plays linebacker. He is extremely talented. 6'1", I would say 215. I saw him in person. He looks the part. He is a big, lean athlete. I would say that's all pretty accurate, at least going forward, that he'll be in that range. 10.7, so you're talking about 4.4, 4.3 type speed, right? It's verified track numbers. He shows it on the field, big time speed. Tough, as you see on the defensive end. He can run through tackles as well. Not the most side-to-side guy, but a very explosive straight line athlete. And somebody there, you got Georgia, Ohio State, Texas. I mean, we're talking about the cream of the crop after Derek Cooper. And Morrow circled him and said, listen, this guy is an elite player in South Florida, an elite impact offensive talent. We have lost these guys to other schools for 2 decades now. That ends here. And I think this has been a recruit that's circled. I had him leaning to Miami going into the weekend, and I certainly believe that Miami is the favorite coming out of the weekend. I think the big thing with Cooper was really showing him the different ways that he can be used. The Austin comparative to Tavon Austin, who he had at Southern Miss, at West Virginia. Obviously, Tavon Austin, 170 pounds, Derek Cooper, 210 something pounds. So that's not necessarily a one-for-one comparison, but the idea is you're a great athlete. You have unique speed. We're going to use you in a lot of different ways. We're not just going to go put you behind the quarterback and hand you the ball.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. When you said it yesterday, it kind of piqued my interest because they aren't very like athletes to me, especially talking about Tavon Austin, talking about someone who has that elite, agility, side to side ability. And that's maybe what you would say is what Cooper's weakness is, but it's an interesting idea to say, look, I've had guys that don't necessarily fit the box of one position. We can make that same thing happen with you.
It's interesting. I mean, look, Tavon Austin, what did he run at the combine? I think he ran, 4.31 or 4.34. So obviously the guy had big time speed, but you look at him in high school, I just pulled up his track numbers. He had like an 11,400 meters. So, I mean, the speed part, I don't think is that different.
Right.
I'm sure Tavon Austin got faster, at least on the track, but we talk 10-7 speed. That's on the high end. So the big playability, like you said, Pete, the side to side is different. The size is different, but the speed I think is pretty similar.
Mike asked why people don't compare Cooper and Sean Taylor in terms of, I mean, I guess Sean Taylor was way taller.
I mean, I don't think anybody compares to Sean Taylor.
Yeah.
He was a 99 in every category. Yeah. I mean, if you ask my honest opinion, and I think Derek Cooper is a beast. I'm not sure Sean Taylor's not a better running back than Derek Cooper. Sean Taylor was like a legit elite running back and probably would have been NFL starter, I think, at that position. Had the touchdown record in Florida until Derrick Henry broke it, 10 years later. So yeah, he was pretty special. Brandon, this is right up your alley, Pete. I can't believe Bruno turned down all that Saudi money.
Yeah, I just said in the comments, man, he's tight with Amorim. That's his Portuguese brother, man. So I think he wants to play for him.
All right. Well, speaking of Saudi money, Tristan Keys, wide receiver out of Hattiesburg. Miami was just in Hattiesburg. Obviously, that's where they played Southern Miss. That's where the regional was. So all those Canes fans were in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. In fact, people talked to Tristan Keys. Apparently, someone saw my Raising Canes. They said, he liked his visit and all that. My read on Keys, he's been here 3 times, twice unofficially, once officially. He's committed to LSU. He's very open. I think the school, from talking to him, the school's in the mix. LSU, where he's committed, Miami, where he's visited 3 times, and then Alabama and Tennessee. Those are the 4 schools you're really looking at. Of those schools, he is very quick to say Miami had the number 1 offense. I like their offense or the number 1 offense. He's an Adidas athlete. We talked about it. And he just likes the city, the family, everybody. They're comfortable in Miami. So all those things are check marks. In terms of talking to people around the program, everybody thought the visit went extremely well. They feel very good about where they're at with Keys, but this is not like hey, he's going to commit tomorrow kind of thing. This is going to be a process. It's going to be a battle. He's a high-profile guy. There's a high-profile recruitment. There's a lot of flash to this recruitment. I don't mean that negatively. I just mean this is the bright lights of recruiting. So Miami is firmly in the game. And when you talk about these kind of battles where there's maybe ups and downs, I like to sit back and say, what are the things that we know for sure of the various schools and how the pieces fit, right? The unchangeables, right? Because you go on a visit and you're like, man, this is where I want to be. Then you go on another visit, you're like, oh, I love this. What are the unchangeables? I think the offensive fit he's comfortable with. The Adidas thing. And then really, and he was also bonding, by the way, with receivers on Miami's current team, which is an underrated factor, Pete, from recruiting, is like kind of that player on team recruit connection. That was good this weekend. But I just think, I keep saying it, this guy belongs in Miami. We've talked to him. We've interviewed him. He's been here a million times. He's a Miami guy. He's not a I'm sure he reps Hattiesburg, Mississippi, but he's not like, hey, I'm staying in this deep South my whole life. I need to kind of guy. I don't get that vibe from him. Much more of like, he's more of a star than that in my view. So we'll see how that plays out. But I like where we're at with Tristan Keys. The staff likes where they're at, but they know this is going to be a battle.
Yeah. I think you obviously do whatever you can to land this guy, and Miami's had him down here, 3 times, 4 times, maybe another time coming up here in the future. I think this could end up being I'm not saying it's going to end the same way, but the DJ Pickett recruitment, it's kind of similar to that. I think it could end up going to the end. I suggested yesterday, is Miami maybe trying to push to make that happen? And I'm not saying they aren't, but it doesn't sound like that one's ending anytime soon.
No, here you go. Delane Simmons saying, the ones of us that live in Hattiesburg always want out. And look, I mean, I learned this long ago with recruiting. I think I got like Clint Portis. Clint Portis was from Gainesville. So, you would say kind of country, right, on paper. But he's a city kind of guy, flashy kind of guy. He was on the visit as well. We'll talk about Camden Portis in a second. But, he's that kind of guy. And he ultimately went to Miami and it was a fit. So just because you're from the country doesn't mean you want to stay in the country. And look, there's some people that want to stay in the country. They're like, man, listen, I want to go to SEC. I want to be laid back. I want to fish on the weekends, hunt on the weekends. By the way, you could fish here for a little bigger fish down here in South Florida. But, there's those kind of guys and they go SEC and it's whatever. That's part of recruiting. They're not all the same kid. This is our kind of guy, I think.
Couple defensive linemen in SEC country, 5 stars that Miami looks like they're making a move with, Anthony Tank Jones and Lamar Brown. So where do they stand with those guys right now?
So I'm feeling really, really good talking to people. Everybody is consistent on this. I talk to Auburn people. I read national people. I talk to Miami people, obviously. I like where we're going with Anthony Tank Jones. He's a 5-star player. I believe he's top 20 in the country player overall at the edge from Mobile, Alabama. He's in that 6'4", 240 kind of range. Good size for, I think, maybe a boundary edge here. State champion in the discus, runner-up in the shot put, plays basketball. You see his highlights. Not only is he great on the edge, he's also playing receiver, catching passes. So this is a really good athlete, and everybody knows I'm a big believer in multi-sport and sports that translate. So here you see him just rushing the passer. This is what looks nice move right there. This is what he's going to major in. But when you're the state champion in the discus and runner up in the shot, but there you see the power just throwing that block aside. Yeah, and look at the tackle. So when you had that ability, that to me shows you your strength and explosive power. But then look at this. Here he is at tight end, getting open, making a catch. This is good football here in Mobile, Alabama, Pete. I know this is your home away from home, and they play real football here. They're really well coached. Here you see him getting off blocks and just destroying people. I like that combination of the finesse with the power, and then the fact that he already turns it on the field. I mean, this is someone who's produced. So he gets sacks at the high school level. He's very productive. You see the two-way production. Heard he's a great kid as well. He's
playing out wide too, man, running by people. That's it's impressive.
Maybe we'll do it. Who knows? We might see this at the University of Miami. So Auburn and Miami.
Who was the kid that went to Oregon that was a commit to Miami? DJ
Johnson. Yeah, he ended up going to Carolina. Johnson. He was a 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, and he played both ways for Oregon. Similar body type.
That was your first go around with CanesInSight. I remember that you were all.
That was in the later part. But I it's funny because I remember getting off the phone call with that kid, and I called you right away. I'm like, yo, this kid. And this was early in the process. No one thought Miami had a chance. He was from Sacramento. I was like, this kid's coming to Miami. I've never been so sure of it after an interview. It's crazy.
I remember that vividly. That's crazy. That was Miami had still not won a regional since then. That's how long ago it was. But anyway, so this guy is to me he's a 5-star recruit from Mobile, Alabama, defensive line. This is a position that battles we don't usually win. But when you talk about Jason Taylor, look at the Wildcat. I love the athleticism here. So when you look at Jason Taylor, he won the battle for Marquise Lightfoot. He won the battle for Hayden Lowe. This is in his wheelhouse. Most people are going to say Auburn. What I would say about Auburn, first of all, he visited Auburn before he visited Miami. So his official visit to Auburn already happened, and I think there's a lot of confidence out of Miami they can get this done. So that's in the rear view. Doesn't mean Auburn's going to stop working, but you don't have a visit on the horizon. That's number one. Alabama's still in the mix. There's other schools in the mix, Texas A&M, but Auburn particularly you already visited them. They have prioritized another 5-star from Pensacola, so same distance to Auburn. Trenton Harrison, I believe is the name, and he. Similarly Henderson, sorry. So similarly rated player. And there's a sense like, hey, are you treating me like the top priority? Because Miami is treating Anthony Jones like an absolute top priority. So you put all that together. I think the coach that he was real close with left to be the defensive coordinator for East Carolina at Auburn. So a lot of factors that allow you to get a window, just a window, to get a player this talented who could do these kind of things. Look at him play. Look at him knock this dude's lights out at receiver and then go and get another block. So that gives you a chance to get in here to this kind of 5-star recruitment. And everything I'm hearing is Miami has a real chance to get this done. And I think, what do you think, Pete? You've been following recruiting for a long time.
Honestly, this is one of the better tapes I've seen this year. At least the guys that are committed to Miami or in the mix. This, and then obviously we've done a lot of the stuff on group chat. This is one of the best 5 to 10 players I've seen this year in the country.
Oh yeah. Look, he's a 5-star, right?
Yeah. So it's not that he's what you said, top 20 nationally ranked. This kid is this is a must get sort of player to me.
I'm with you. We talk about it more. And I think part of it is there's even coverage too. I just see a football player. Obviously he's a great athlete. You don't win track state championships, play basketball, play receiver without being athletic. But look at this. This guy's out here playing. And
he's a pass rusher, but he's not he's not like a project. The frame's not projectable. He's big already, and then he has the movement skills. So
big time.
Yeah.
So he can play linebacker, man. What a stud.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's one Canes fans look, long way to go, but you got to get excited about the possibility to land a player like that. There you go. Players named Tank always seem to go to Auburn, and it shows you to me the shift, Pete. Again, you as a recruiting veteran, the shift in the recruiting mindset. Can you imagine even thinking about a guy like this with Manny, with Golden? It wouldn't even be a concept that we could get this kind of player where he is located.
No, you look at obviously the Miami's recruiting mentality with Mario has been national, but just in general as well. Listen, we've talked about it before. The SEC has always played by their own rules. That's nullified now. I'm not saying Auburn will throw money around, with the best of them, but kid grew up in the state of Alabama, maybe wants to experience something different and is also going to be compensated well for it, right? So you have that opportunity, and guy like him, we've seen it with these elite guys the last couple of years, these Miami success getting these 5 stars in the trenches. You say you're going to be coached by Jason Taylor. It goes a long way, man. The recruiting process is it's almost like cheating in a way, because he has more accolades than pretty much anyone at his same position, right? And obviously there's plenty of great coaches and people in sports who didn't play the game at the highest level. But recruiting wise, it's and that to me, it's almost like it makes Mario's job easier, because Mario's the lead guy on any of these 5 stars. Mario can just do his talking and point to Jason Taylor, point to Damian Lewis in that room and say, these guys, obviously JT's a Hall of Famer, but Damian Lewis first round pick, correct?
Yep.
At 5-star, it's a lot easier to point to these guys. And I think that goes a long way in these recruiting processes.
No doubt. Play by the rules. Appreciate the support. Asking how many 5 stars can we realistically hope to land? You got one, right? So Jackson Canwell's committed. I would say Tristan Key's very viable. I don't know if Calvin Russell's is a 5-star right now. Let's assume they're both 5 stars. I think you can get one of those 2 for sure. I also say those, that would be 2. Anthony Jones, I think we got a great shot at. That would be 3. Lamar Brown, we'll talk about here in a second. You're in the game there. I wouldn't say you're that's the favorite. That'll be a battle and a half, but you're in the game there. I'm just thinking of 5 stars that we're kind of in the mix with. I might be leaving someone out. Let me know in the comments, but those are the ones that jump out. I think 3 is realistic. And if you get 3 5 stars, you're doing pretty good. You're doing pretty good. You got 3 5 stars. You're gonna be a top 5 class easy.
So yeah, you just talked about Lamar Brown there. Wanted to get to this question real quick before we move to the next name. Ink Kane asking, still recruiting Pepe, have a real chance of a flip? From what I understand, D, and you tell me if you've heard anything different, I think Miami wanted him to still take his official visit. He said, look, I'm not taking any visits right now. I'm sticking with USC. But I think there's kind of a belief of, we'll continue to keep our line of communication open. We'll see what happens during the season. USC, there's a lot of positive momentum over there right now. They obviously are excited to improve on what happened last year, but things kind of go south there. I'm not counting Miami out in that one. Obviously you have a lot of money committed to Cantwell, and you have a lot of high profile names you're recruiting there still. Brett Colajay, Cannon Pickett, but Pepe would be a guy that they obviously still want very badly. He's holding firm in USC for right now, but I don't think they're giving up there.
Yeah, by the way, 2,000 on, man. Like and subscribe to the show. With respect to Pepe, I think I agree with everything you said. If USC implodes, let's say Jaden Mayava is just like, man, screw this coach. These guys suck. Lincoln Riley's getting fired or gets an extension that no one wants him to get because the team's doing terrible. Maybe they're like, maybe Mayava says, or whoever, like the players on the team are telling Pepe, don't come here, man, which happens, believe it or not. That happens a lot. There's a lot of things that could happen when there's negative vibes. Right now, USC hasn't played a game. They could have a very good season and be right on the track. They have a great recruiting class. It could go right on the track back to prominence, or it could go south. It goes south. Miami has a long relationship. They still want the player. So that would be, like you said, Pete, I think the way it would work out. But it's not like they're just going to go in and flip them. Johnny Lagoon asked, Pete, you need to write one of those old plug posts for old time's sake, maybe basketball or something.
Maybe, man, maybe. And if it happens, I'll just drop it. I'm not giving you guys any warning.
So we'll talk about Lamar Brown, and then we'll talk about our friends at Islas here. But with Lamar Brown, defensive tackle from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, still struggle with that pronunciation. Anyways, defensive tackle, 5-star elite, tested out of this universe, great player on the field, goes to school on LSU's campus. I believe the school is called University Lab right there. Mm-hmm. It's literally on campus with LSU as a high school. But I keep hearing that Texas A&M is a team that's really invested a lot in Lamar Brown, and that would be the team that'd be more so to watch than LSU. Not saying LSU can't get him, but the team that I think a lot of people are kind of keeping their eye on is Texas A&M with Lamar Brown. Now, the weekend, home run. Couldn't have gone better. You saw his tweets. Miami's in it. So now it's about big-time recruiting, stay in the game, chip away, keep the relationship going, and see what happens. You're in the game there. I would say if you ask me what's more likely, a Lamar Brown or an Anthony Jones, I would lean towards Anthony Jones here, but that's not because of this weekend. This weekend was great with Lamar Brown. You gave yourself a chance there, a good chance. But I think with Jones, I see the stars aligning a little more with like the whole picture, but we'll see. So, and there's no reason you can't get both. It's going to be tough, obviously, to go to the South and get two studs like that. 2 5-star defensive linemen from the South. I mean, you would put Cristobal in the recruiting Hall of Fame if he pulls that off, but it's not impossible. And I think we'll get one.
Brian, good morning, man. Appreciate the support. Hit that like and subscribe. If you guys are just joining the show, listen, we had some people asking for the football stuff when we were talking baseball, but if you're just joining the show now, we actually did a pretty long segment on the baseball team. So of course we'll, you can always rewind and check that out. But as we keep, you want to talk about, of course, Islas.
Yeah. And by the way, we'll separate all these segments too. So like if you missed the baseball, we'll have the baseball separate. You could watch that. You could watch the bank as well. So we'll give you everything you need. That's one thing we've been trying to do on the show, and you guys have responded very well, is we had the live show, 2,000 on right now, comments going crazy, but we know some people can't make everything or can't sit, they don't have time for the whole thing. So we cut up segments as well. Been putting those out on the channel, so you can always catch those. But we had a comment up here. Where was it? Let me find it here. Somebody was saying we got to give Islas to the baseball team. So yeah, those are some big boys. I'm sure they're hungry after a game like this, so after a weekend like this, and you know where to go. You're going to Islas Canarias, the #1 Cuban restaurant on planet Earth, 40 plus years of serving the Miami community. They were out there in Tamiami and Sweetwater doing their thing, and now they are centrally located here in Dadeland Mall, the Dadeland Dining Pavilion, right in the middle of everything, right there on the metro. You know where to go. 7 different types of croquetas. Canes Cat saying Will Smith threw a lot of Islas croquetas last night. Yeah, they weren't touching anything. But go out there.
Dude, my buddy just moved to Dadeland, and he told me one of the things he's most excited about is that he's going to be there next to Islas Canarias Express.
Tell him to take a picture. We'll throw it on the show. I know he's going to be happy, man, because it is as good as it gets out there at Islas Canarias. So, listen, you hear it every time. You hear the happy customers in the comments. Everybody knows what time it is when it comes to Islas Canarias. JT say too early to make me this hungry, man. So hey, listen, what can I tell you? It's there. It's there morning. It's there light. It's there all day. So Johnny Lagoon is my spot. I know Johnny Lagoon's a big kimchi croqueta guy, a man of the world, a cultured man right there, broadening his horizons. But you can still get the OG ham croqueta. You can get every single different type of croqueta under the sun. Islas Canarias.
Canes Cat Seat says, I heard Will Smith was dealing some Islas at the ballpark last night.
Oh man, he was balling. H Canes, our boy Ken said, hope everyone appreciates just how much how big this team winning the regional is. I think we're spoiled a bit. Getting to Omaha is huge if we pull it off. Since 2016, man, it's been a while. Man. So grateful. Look, by the way, Dennis, look at some of the teams that did not make a regional, right? Vanderbilt, number 1 overall seed. Texas A&M preseason number 1 didn't even make the tournament. Virginia preseason number 2 didn't even make the tournament. You're seeing a lot of these SEC schools that thought they were going to be advancing. Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, right? These teams that thought they were going to be right there in the mix are gone. So, shout out to the Canes for getting it done. Peanut Boy 69, appreciate you supporting the show. Asking, how are we looking with Calvin Russell? Can we possibly get Keys? There's Tristan Keys, Messiah Hampton, and Calvin Russell. I think if they could, they would. So they're going to try. Everything I heard was good with Russell. He's tight with Malachi Toney, who is loving Miami. He's playing a lot, showing the path to play as a freshman. We offered him a basketball, which is a big hurdle. He's a basketball player. His mom's in the Hall of Fame for basketball. So there's a lot going on there. Syracuse, which is also in the mix for Messiah Hampton, is pushing hard on Cooper. They don't really have a good quarterback. I think that could be a situation that, Syracuse has to really roll kind of perfect. They have to get that royal flush to get a kid like Cooper. They got to pay him. They got to have the relationship, and they got to show something on the field. If one of those falls apart, let's say the football side, he's up for grabs. So I think there's a chance you could get Cooper and Tristan Keys. Other schools have done it, right? There's no rule says you can't get multiple studs in one recruiting class. Look at what Ohio State does and some of these other schools, LSU, right? So we'll see. It's going to come down to a lot of factors, including Canes Connection, by the way, guys. Sign up CanesConnection.com/CIS. You want to stack up 5-star recruits? You got to pay the cost to be the boss, as the great Snoop Dogg said back when he was with No Limit Records. You have to pay the cost to be the boss. You want to be the boss of college football, of the ACC. You got to pay and be your part of it, right? Don't just be on the sidelines. Canes Connection. Sign up through our deal, CanesConnection.com/CIS. Get special offers, special perks, including private Zoom chat with me. Talk about things I cannot talk about here. There's all these different donation levels. Whatever level you're comfortable with, you are in, you are helping, you are part of Canes Connection. You are part of the solution. You're on the inside of this thing. You're not on the outside. CanesConnection.com/CIS.
We'll get back to the bank here, but I was just thinking now we got to do after baseball season wraps up, and this stuff's so results oriented, but we got to do a state of the U sort of address of the athletics department, man, because I think you look back a few months ago, the basketball team was at an awful place. We still have to see what happens, on the floor, but basketball team was in a horrible place. We were excited about football season, but the end of the year was a really, really bad place to be as a Canes fan. And then there wasn't a ton of optimism from the outside in on baseball before the year. And now you're looking at it like, okay, a lot of positive stuff going on in basketball. We see what's happening in football with the recruiting class and trying to build off last year. And then baseball is in a really nice spot. It looks like heading into this offseason. Whatever happens here should be in a position of strength in the portal. So exciting times, man. Shout out to everyone in that athletic department. So
Absolutely.
again, results oriented, but good vibes right now.
Oh, yeah, shout out. How about James Knable? Big game, James Knable, man. First year as SID, getting to go to super regionals, potentially to Omaha, man. So I know he's fired up. He was texting me at like 1:30 a.m. It's really a good team. There's a lot of people involved in this whole process, man. So you're happy to see these guys and girls have success. A lot of questions on DT. So I want to get here. So Jonathan Crumbly, who's going to be the undersized DT we take out of Florida? We take one every other class. Would that be Norman? Anthony Manzano's asking if Lamar Brown goes to Texas A&M. Who's our backup plan at defensive tackle? Is it Trenton Henderson? Is it Bryce Perry Wright? Another question on DT from 904 Hurricane. How concerned are you about DT depth? Any concerns about Notre Dame pounding between the tackles and possibly laying a blueprint on how to beat Miami game one? So I'll start. Defensive tackle is the rarest position in football. It's hard to find those guys. They are the most expensive. They're the most rare physically. There's only so many of them, not that many sleepers. I would say in terms of name that I'd keep an eye on coming out of this weekend, Keyshawn Stansel, 4-star defensive tackle out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Visited this weekend, visited unofficially in the spring. We visited him up in North Carolina. A lot of points of contact with Stansel. Clemson's involved. That visit's coming up. Penn State's involved. That visit's coming up. NC State. So this guy's got some big-time visits coming up. But when I talked to him after his visit, man, he sounded like he was about to commit. I mean, he loved Miami. His mom was there. She loved Miami. There's a relationship there. There's a name that's been on the scene for a while. Penetrating 3 technique, 4-star player. Very talented. But, Clemson, they recruit pretty well in the Carolinas. They get a lot of first-round defensive linemen. Penn State is a first-round defensive factory. Obviously, they do a great job recruiting with James Franklin. So it's a big boy battle. That's going to happen anytime you have a talented defensive tackle. But if you could survive those visits, I mean, Miami, I think, is the leader right now for Keyshawn Stansel. That'd be one defensive tackle. And as far as like just the overall depth, you need Justice Scott to be what you expect him to be. He's been that in the spring. Got to do it on the field, but he's a top 10 player overall out of high school, 5-star. Those guys play. And then Moten needs to keep developing, and you need David Blade to be what you project out of Louisiana Tech. I know Pete's talked to some scouts who are big fans of him. But going to Stansel here, 23 tackles for loss, bunch of sacks. I saw him in person. He's definitely about 6'3", 6'2". He's tall. He's got to gain some weight, but he will. You can tell he's not been in the weight room too much over there in North Carolina. I think he's kind of a guy that spends a year down here, and then he looks big. But the first step quickness speed as you watch this, that's what I think is attracting some of these big time schools.
Yeah, and fluid. I mean, he's a fluid mover. It's one thing to have a quick step, but some of these guys are like herky jerky movers, right? Like it's explosive and it's quick, but it doesn't look very. Not that looks can be deceiving at these spots, but yeah, you see him here getting upfield. He's running, looking bend the corner there. I mean, he just ran 15, 20 yards on that play. So it's an impressive athlete that you're looking at here.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point as far as, there's the bull in the china shops, right? They just go upfield and they're fast, but they're stiff and they don't find the football. They have no eyes to where the ball is.
They can't finish plays. He's finishing these plays, man. So yeah, big fan of this one right here.
Yeah, man. We got Adrian Lorenzo in the comments. Shout out to Adrian Lorenzo. Me and Adrian do El Big League show, just recorded yesterday. He is a former MLB executive, 2-time World Series champ with the Boston Red Sox, and really breaking down MLB at a high level. If you guys are baseball fans, also college baseball, we talked a lot of college baseball. Adrian knows the Canes roster better than anybody. So check that show out. If El Big League show, just write it to YouTube. Go ahead and like and subscribe, support us if you could. And I think if you're a baseball fan, you'll really enjoy just getting insight from the executive perspective, right? I just ask the questions, but then you get some insight from the high level executive and how they approach the game, service time, the MLB draft, college versus high school evaluations. There's really in-depth, cool stuff. We've even got Japanese baseball there too, Pete. I think that might be your next obsession after the Saudi soccer. Maybe we'll get some.
I never know.
Japanese baseball.
I never know what my next interest is going to be, so I'm not going to count it out.
The James Bond of the game, man, the world traveler. There is my boy Jaden Hewitt. Appreciate you. Missed it yesterday. My baseball nerd status. I'll go back and watch. Jaden should send me a catcher yesterday to keep an eye on from the portal. It looked really good. Talented athlete there with some good production on offense. So shout out to Jaden. If you guys know any baseball players that are hitting the portal, text me. hit me up on the comments. Try to get them to the University of Miami. Let's see what else we got here. Questions on College A. There's Brett College A, offensive lineman out of Colorado, now at IMG. Miami wants him bad. Georgia wants him bad. He's a highly touted player. I think Miami's got a great chance. Cannon Pickett looks like he's going to be in this class. He hasn't visited yet, but he visited Clemson on their big weekend. Clemson rolled out the red carpet. Still looks like he's a Cane lean. Obviously a Cane legacy with his dad and his brother. So, I think that's one piece of it. And now the last piece is College A. So if you get Cannon Pickett done, all the energy is going to be focused on College A. He's visited unofficially a bunch. Miami loves him. Miami would like to take College A and Pickett, not College A or Pickett. So see if they can get it done.
So you want to talk about who's the last guy? We talked about Stansel. We haven't spoken about Samorian Wingo, right?
Yeah, Samorian Wingo, UF-UM battle. Good athlete, good bigger receiver. Seems to like his visit a lot. I think that's one, Miami is keeping the communication with, and, we'll see how that one develops. But I think UM and UF there, and, Miami will keep in communication there. I don't see anything imminent on that one.
Couple linebackers, Malik Morris, Anthony Kennedy Jr. There's been talk about Miami pursuing them, but as of now, it doesn't look like they're priorities, right?
Right. Anthony Kennedy Jr. is actually D-tackled. He's the big 330 kid from Little Rock. So I don't think either of those. I don't think we're going to go in those directions. I wouldn't expect either of those in the class.
And then at corner, Brody Jennings, who was just on campus this weekend. Obviously, very unfortunate. Father just passing away last week. But looks like Miami's making a move there. Michigan commit. Yeah,
let's talk about Brody Jennings and Peony Boys. We'll get to your comment here in a second. But with Brody Jennings, I think this is a name. If you're a Canes fan, some of the names to circle. We talked about Anthony Jones, talked about Keyshawn Stansel. Obviously, some of the big names you guys know. Circle Brody Jennings. Pull up his highlights here. This is a guy who is considered by internally. I think I'll look at his ratings. He's a Michigan commit. I want to say he's a low 4-star player. Let me look at his actual rating. But this is a guy like in the building when he was committed to Michigan that he was valued at an extremely high level. He has a low 4-star in composite, number 22 corner in the country. 247 is not as high on him. But, again, 247 is not doing a great job evaluating lately. But look at this guy. I mean, I personally, when I see this guy, his dad, his brother, both college high major linebackers. This guy's got size and physicality, but look at the movement skills. Look at the ball awareness. I think there's a big time man-to-man corner. Incredible tragedy with his father, Bradley Jennings, just passing away suddenly. Bradley Jennings, good shape. I mean, this guy was a stud linebacker, passed away just like that from a heart attack. I mean, just heartbreaking stuff. And then this guy still made his visit. He was with his brother. He was with his sister who runs track for Miami. Bradley Jennings, the son played at Miami at linebacker. So there's a lot of Miami ties. The family's originally from Miami. Michigan commit, Michigan knows what they're doing when it comes to defensive evaluations. I'm not sure there's that many programs in the country that are better. Like they get these guys with these low 4-stars and you see them in the first round. So Michigan's really good at those guys. They would love to keep Brody Jennings, but I would feel comfortable kind of projecting Brody Jennings to the Miami Hurricanes. Jacksonville area of Miami always wants to try to make inroads to their quarterback. He went to Mandarin High School, Carson Beck. So this is Carson Beck's alma mater. And you see the highlights, man. I don't know if you've even seen Brody Jennings yet. This is your first time looking at him, but
no, I like him. I mean, the length is there. I like when I see guys blitzing on their highlights off the edge there, and we've seen that a couple times. It's such a corner of physical. I mean, it's such a position of physical traits. We understand the bloodlines. We see, we understand he plays against great competition. So to me, I trust the staff on these sort of evaluations. That's not even a trust thing. He's committed to Michigan, right? So I think it's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah, man. This is a guy that would, I think, come in ready to play. When I first heard about him, his dad, his brother, both linebackers. Is he going to be just kind of like a big stiff guy, right? But he's so fluid, man. He has those natural cornerback skills. You see how easily he just scoops us up. It's not just a kind of a size speed guy that runs in straight lines. This is a fluid corner, finds the football, good hips, changes direction. I'm a big fan, and I know Miami loves him, and they're going to be look at the physicality. He has that part too. That part didn't fall far from the tree. So Brody Jennings, guys, we're talking about this weekend, guys, to circle. This would be one.
Well, and I think he had another brother too, Brandon.
Yeah. He went to like Maryland and Michigan.
Brandon, yeah, but he ended up at Mississippi State, and he was a good player. I remember him being a good player as well. So I think he might have had a better numbers or ended up having a better college career than Bradley. But they've got bloodlines, man. And he was 6'3", 240. That's what he was listed as. So
big boy, man, big boy. All right, so what else we got, Pete, on the bank here? I know we got a couple guys.
A few other defensive backs, Tamarian Watkins. So I mean, I guess he's like a tweener safety linebacker, but looks like Miami's getting in the mix there.
Yeah, I saw him in person, talked to him. He looks like James Williams, right? Body type. He's not like, a Sean Taylor where he's like thick and heavy. He's going to need to gain weight. He can gain weight. He's tall. He's lanky. He said he'll play linebacker. If it doesn't work out, he'll play safety. Either one, Miami will take him. First time visiting Miami. Most of these guys came on unofficial visits, so it wasn't their first time on campus. With him, it was. It went well. Miami moved the needle. I think with him, obviously, Carolina schools are going to be heavy on him. Clemson, South Carolina, so that's where you would lean. If Miami can get him back on campus for an unofficial, I think this recruitment kicks up to another level. We'll see. But Miami made moves their first visit with him. He's just a little, behind in the process because he didn't visit in spring. So you're hoping to catch up. We'll see. It went well. Miami likes him. So I think that's one. Keep an eye on that one. But, I couldn't say, hey, I'm projecting him to Miami. I think you would still lean the Carolina schools, but that's to be determined. Dr. Jones says, is your guy Hezi Kent taking an OV? I believe he is, Pete. Your guy, Superman.
I hope so. Camden Portis, solid commitment right now.
No issues there. Clinton Portis' son. There's some buzz always with Delaware State because Clinton Portis is coaching there. He's wearing Delaware State gear around the visit. Not Camden, but Clinton was at times. But I think the guy was going to go to UM. He was committed solidly. He looked taller. He's not a big guy, like strong like his dad, but he's got enough height. He's not a short guy at all. He's probably 6 foot. A good nickel. That's where he fits best. He can move. He's smart. He ran a 10.9 the other day, so he's got enough speed, right, like his dad did. And he's just a good football player. IQ, tackling, all that kind of stuff is there. So you feel good about that aspect of him.
Yeah, look, if for whatever reason it doesn't work out at Miami, you can always fall back on Delaware State. Zach Turner at tight end. He's someone that we've played his highlights before. Got a lot of juice, man. Really more of a receiving tight end, right? He's not someone that's going to be used in the blocking game, but potential mismatch issue out wide.
Yeah, this relates to Zach Turner, so I'm kind of going off topic, but I'll bring it back to Zach Turner. Brian asked, saying about Camden Portis, I hope he works out. Our legacy commits haven't had a high hit rate. They only have a high hit rate when they go to other schools. It's like, I think to RJ Maryland, right, which is how I'll transition it, who's the tight end at Southern Methodist. He is Russell Maryland's son. Really good tight end, one of the better tight ends in the country for him. A lot of people compare him to the guy we're about to talk about, Zach Turner, who is a tight end from Dallas, Texas. I know Rohan Marley's kid was a good player for Tulane.
Nico
Marley Blades was a good player for LSU. One of those Blades kids. There's been a few guys that have left. I'm sure I'm leaving some big ones out. Brock Purdy, probably the biggest one, whose dad played for Canes baseball. That's a legacy that we wish we could get back. But there's been a few. Oh, Frank Gore Jr. was a pretty good player.
Yeah, Frank Gore Jr. for sure.
So there's a few of those guys that we wish we got. But yeah, the ones we've gotten haven't turned out. We'll see with Camden. I think Camden's higher rated than some of those guys. He's a 4-star player. So it's not like, Miami's his only option. He could go to any school probably in the ACC. Coming out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So, that part's a little different. We'll see. But Camden Pickett's another legacy, so you want to get that one done as well. But on Zach Turner, Pete, guy we've watched his highlights, we like him, right? Very productive from Duncanville, Texas, played with Keelan Russell, Alabama freshman quarterback. Great team there. He put up big numbers, even though he was playing with DeCorian Moore, who in my opinion is going to be kind of like the Jeremiah Smith of this year. You know, a huge DeCorian Moore fan, signed with Oregon, #1 receiver in the country. Turner played with him, put up big numbers at tight end, 6'3", 225, let's say. So kind of in your Elijah Lofton mold, not as big and bulky like a running back, more of like just like a true H-back, but a great receiver, very advanced. Miami loves him. Miami wants him big time. The question is, I think, Miami had a great visit with him this weekend. He visited also unofficially. He's one of those unofficial visits. Question with him, is he going to be able to survive that Southern Methodist visit without committing? Because if he doesn't, I think Miami will be the favorite. If SMU gets their claws into him, he's a local kid. They want him really bad. They can't lose guys like that. It could get different. It could get ugly. So we'll see how that one plays out.
And then just to wrap things up here, a couple of Florida-based defensive ends: Daniel Norman from St. Thomas, and then DeAnthony Lafayette from Orlando.
I would say Norman, a high upside. I liked how he looked in person. They're going to keep him warm and keep communication with him. I don't think that's something that's imminent, like right away. I think that might be closer to the season. But, a St. Thomas kid with that kind of talent, I could see being a Hurricane. We'll see. The DeAnthony Lafayette, I think he likes Oklahoma. They got a heads up on him. So they're the leader, but Miami likes him. They're not going to just give up if he commits to Oklahoma. So maybe, that could be something that Miami keeps working. And then if Oklahoma has a bad year or whatever happens, Miami has a good year, you can see him flip down the road. I don't think that's one that Miami is just going to let go. But there were a couple other guys Pete I want to talk about too. I know Samari Matthews, another corner from the Carolinas, I believe in the Charlotte area, like Camden Portis. A lot of guys from the Carolinas in this. We're talking about Keyshawn Stansel, Camden Portis from Charlotte, and now Samari Matthews from Rock Hill, South Carolina, which is really more on the border, closer to Charlotte. Miami thinks he's one of the best players in the country, and they are after him big time. And I think Texas is the leader right now, but he's another one that if he commits to Texas or wherever, they'll keep recruiting him, keep working him for a flip. He had a great visit to the Miami Hurricanes. A couple super chats I want to get to. Though I didn't forget about Chupini Boy. Said, my next fantasy baseball draft, I'm going to need your help. Friton got me for helping me draft. LOL. Appreciate your support. Yeah. El Big League Show, man. We'll help you out in your fantasy draft. We'll tell you all the prospects that are about to blow up and just under the radar guys. That's kind of what we like to focus on. So like and subscribe. Check out El Big League Show. The real Coach Carter, the real C Carter. Is it the real Chris Carter, the real Coach Carter? What's the C for? Because he's the real one. He's saying, speaking of tight end recruiting, any thoughts on intel on the unofficial taking place right now in Preston Frizzell? Criminally underrated. I will dig into that. I don't have the intel on that.
D, hold on, D. I just looked his name up. I'm gonna bring his page up, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, you are going to freak out of this kid. He's a pitcher. He's a pitcher as well. Here he is. Got his I'll pull his highlights up here in a second. But look at this: 6'4", 205-pound right-handed pitcher. Fastball's 84 to 86, topping out at 87. So I don't know about the velocity for a big boy, but we'll have to evaluate him as a football player.
Yeah, we'll talk to we'll talk to Adrian on a Big League Show. But great athletic delivery. Was from Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, yep.
Shout out to Hassan.
Another reason to love him, right?
He's always shout out to the Glass City Hassan in the comments. If he's in here, he always repping Toledo. Toledo's a city, so. This is not like the sticks. You can get guys from Toledo. I think back to Fred Davis. That might have been before you started following recruiting. He was the #1 player in the country at tight end. Miami and USC were the two finalists. Ends up going to USC. I think he signed with like the Panthers, or he was like a second-round pick. Fred Davis.
Was that number 83? You were 83.
There you go. Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah, he was a big recruit.
He was a good tight end. Yeah,
he was a 5-star. I think like a receiver that you knew he turned into a tight end. So we haven't gotten a guy from Toledo in a while, but probably the most famous Toledo Miami Hurricane, Pete. I know that. Let's see. Ask the chat, because I know the answer. Let's see if the chat knows the answer. Who is the most famous Miami Hurricane from Toledo, Ohio, the Glass City, right there on the Ohio-Michigan border? Let's see if anyone. Let's see if the real C Carter, man. Let's see if you know most famous player out of Toledo,
What is
Ohio.
a football player?
Football player Kane. Shout out to Jim Sala, by the way, our guy.
I was going to say Jim Sala is the most famous Kane from Toledo, but
that's right. Shout out to Jim Sala, biggest supporter of Canes baseball there is. I know he's over the moon right now. But I got to text him after we get out of this.
Did he go into the office this morning? I don't know, man.
He might not be awake, man. That guy was going. He's been waiting for this one for a while. There's another Jim Sala. All right, so no one's got the answer. C. Carter, man, I'm counting on you. So the most famous player to come out of Toledo, Ohio, for the Miami Hurricanes, and I remember seeing this. I saw this game live in '88 when I went up to Toledo, or I went up to Toledo and then to Ann Arbor because I got family up there. There he is. He knows. Kane, how do you know this, Canes Cat?
That guy's using Chat GPT right now, man. For sure.
20-something-year-old Canes Cat.
Well, he did say someone's high school. He said Salah's high school classmate. There you go.
Rob Chazinski.
Rob Chud. Yeah. Rob Chud. I should have known this one. I should have known this one. That's shame on me, actually, because I did know that. I did know that.
Trey Moore asking any kids from South Dade High School the Canes are recruiting. I know the Canes have kicked around to Darius Hughes, the safety from South Dade, who since transferred to Northwestern. I'll follow up on that, Trey, because I know they saw him. I want to see. I don't know how he looked and all that kind of stuff. So I will follow up on that guy before it's all done. Also want to talk about a special deal for the Miami Hurricanes this Father's Day. Score big with the ultimate Canes deal. Wait, hold on. So hold on a second. I got a Father's Day pass. Is it Father's Day? Did Father's Day already pass? What's Father's Day?
No, that was Mother's Day that just passed, dude.
Okay, sorry. So okay. I'm all over the place. Let me look it up. When is Father's Day? Let's look up Father's Day here. Hold your horses. Father's Day is June 15th. June 15th. All right. Father's Day, June 15th. Score big with the ultimate Canes deal. Get 2 tickets to a Miami Hurricanes football game plus 2 Canes hats for just $75. That's like two hats, but you get 2 tickets and 2 hats, $75. Show dad some you love. Get your package right now at MiamiHurricanes.com/Father's Day. That's MiamiHurricanes.com/Father's Day. So yeah, that's the Father's Day collection.
We got
a lot of Father's Day deals. We're doing both. This is the Miami Hurricane team store, MiamiHTS.com. Right there. Plus, you can go across the street from the University of Miami. You get that Father's Day deal, which is a different one. 20% off your first item at the Miami Hurricane.
Here you go. Here's the Father's Day. Here's the Father's Day package from before.
And then we got another Father's Day package, 2 tickets, game of your choosing, plus 2 hats, $75. So whether you want the Father's Day package for the tickets and the hats, you want the Father's Day package from Miami Hurricane Team Store, you got to get something here from these guys. You're a Canes fan. This is going to be your Father's Day present. Send these links to your family and say, hey, save some money. You're spending my money anyways to buy my own present. use these promo codes and save some cash. Yeah, shout out to Harry and Jeremy at the team stores, 2 of the biggest Canes baseball fans. You'll always see them out there. Oh, and we got to talk about the meet and greet, Pete. Pull up the Twitter for Miami Hurricane Team Store. Meet and greet Saturday, 1 to 2 at the Miami Hurricane Team Store. An absolutely incredible event. Francis Malinoa, heard of that guy? Ruben Bain. Who else we got? I know we got multiple.
CJ Daniels,
and it was a Markel Bell, I believe. Markel Bell. 4 starting players, all good guys. We've interviewed all these guys. Miami Hurricane Team Store, this Saturday, June 7th, 1 to 2 p.m. Island of Bahamas, Canes Connection, all involved. 1 to 2 p.m. right there in front of UM. Take your kids. If you go to a signing event, this is the one you want to go to, man. Look at the names on this list. Got a ton of pictures, autographs. Great guys. They'll talk to you. They'll answer questions about the team. These are just unbelievable events. I know Johnny Lagoon's been to a ton of these. He loves them. Real unique chance to get up close and personal with these players and get to know them. So keep an eye on that. By the way, shout out to Brian. Look at that. Young Brian, 16.9 and 24 inches at 3 months. Trending to UM as a OL trenches, boys.
Dude, we need some skill position guys, man. I don't know. Let's see.
Mario's not even paying attention to that. He's got that on. He's got young Brian on his radar. Anthony Guadagnino wants to know how many names does D mess up, man? If I didn't have you, it'd be tough sledding.
What'd you mess up now?
Who knows, man? That's the Father's Day, so that's the first one. But yeah, man, 2,500 on this show. appreciate everybody. Like and subscribe to this show if you have not done so already. We're on every day. You know, we're doing Saturdays and Sundays now. We're working day and night like MJ, man. It is nonstop on the CanesInSight podcast, powered by Anajar and Levine. Doesn't matter if the game ends at 1. I was like 2 last night. I was so fired up, but we don't miss it, man. Appreciate everybody joining us. Like and subscribe, and we'll keep this thing rolling. Stay
Tomorrow we will work. We will go over once again the pronunciation of Louisville.
We'll get Mike Ryan. He needs some crow. He'll do his formal apology, right? He said he would do it. So let's see what he comes up with there. But yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun when the Canes are in the postseason. Be nice to have a 3 for 3, man. Let's get 3 for 3 this year. We got one. We got one in 2025 with the Hurricanes baseball. Let's go. I mean, I don't know what year you put basketball in, but let's say this year coming up, let's get that tournament, get back in business there with that physical team. You know, Pete's got all your coverage for Canes baseball, powered by Pedro Ariz, my guy, Ariz La PA. And then, of course, you know, the football team. That's bread and butter. And let's get them back here, or let's get them in the tournament. Let's get them in the tournament. We're get back. Let's get them in the tournament. And it's gonna be a fun summer. Continue to add talent and build this roster where it needs to be. Appreciate you, Brian. Appreciate everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Like and subscribe. Go Canes.
Go Canes.